Hello everybody, today I'm going to talk about another game that didn't live up to its hype this generation. Watch Dogs, on the Xbox One, 360, PS3, PS4, and PC. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is what my thoughts on this were before. Now, I was actually kind of hyped for this game. Not too hyped, but it had a cool modern concept, amazing graphics when the game was first shown, and was looking to be another next-gen game that would have shown what the 360 wasn't capable of and what the PS4 and Xbox One could do. However, something went horribly wrong probably, and the game has pretty much turned to trash. There have been delays, which were supposed to improve the quality. There was a graphical downgrade, and the game did not have the amazing graphics which were shown during E3 2012, and instead downgraded graphics which look more like that of a 360 game. And of course, let's not forget the fact that the whole game was just too hyped up. But then again, part of me was thinking this could be a game like GTA 5, but on the Xbox One and PS4, and boy was I wrong. But let's start the review off, shall we, with what my thoughts on this game are. The first thing you'll need to know is that the online was flat out broken when I tried to play it. The game uses Uplay, which is so bad it even has its own broken dedicated client on the consoles. And of course, it was down when I attempted to play the game. However, I was able to bypass this luckily, but considering how this game moves many features online, this is a bad sign for the game already, especially considering how they made this game hyped up around many features that used online. The storyline is totally cliche. The point of the game is basically this. You're some hacker in an alternate version of modern Chicago, where basically what's happened is Chicago and some people decided it was a good idea to put Chicago under one infrastructure. Of course, this was a hacker's dream, and basically what happens is your guy was hacking into a bank, and some other gang put a hit squad on his family, and basically while he survived, his daughter got killed. And probably some other family members too, but you can't really relate to anybody in this storyline. Especially because it has a generic gang hit storyline you've seen in many other video games. Especially pretty much every video game from about... Remember back when there were all the video games about gangs and stuff back in 2004, 2005? That pretty much tried to copy Grand Theft Auto. But you also notice that the storyline is kind of forced, and when you start the game up, you see, well, it starts with a very scripted do this sequence, complete with you having to point at a guy and fire an empty weapon, because after all, you know, this is just like Call of Duty or Medal of Honor when it comes to scripted stuff, and let's be honest, this is not a good thing in an open world game, especially when the tutorial feels, well, forced. I mean, even Grand Theft Auto 5, that game did the first mission a lot better because you actually feel like you're doing stuff instead of breaking out of a building, which is obviously Wrigley Field, or probably Wrigley Field, I think, but yeah. Trust me, you'll get bored of the story real fast. The more you play this game, the less you'll want to care about the story, because trust me, I'm already bored of the storyline. I've only played like an hour or two. And that's all I could play, because I'll get into why in a second. But now it's time to talk about the gameplay, since I've already covered the bland storyline. The gameplay is pretty much this. Drive around in a car that controls like Grand Theft Auto 4's boat cars. Remember how in Grand Theft Auto 4 your cars would control like boats? You'd be struggling with the car driving controls. The driving controls are just like Grand Theft Auto 4 and the other older Grand Theft Autos such as San Andreas, where you're struggling with the controls trying to steer your car. I mean, let's be honest here, you're just trying to get from point A to point B, and yet you've got this car which handles like a piece of crap. I'm not even making this up here. Like, you really have to play this game. I mean, you can go on Steam forums. There are complaint after complaint about Why does this game have terrible controls? Hacking is pretty easy too. You just go up to something, press X. That's it. You've hacked the traffic light. You've hacked all these other things. And that's all you gotta do. Hit X and done. But anyways, these controls, like I said, the cars control terrible and they feel very inconsistent. You can get into a fast car, next thing you know, it'll control like your mom's old Mercury Grand Marquis. That's how it will control. Like one of those cars, like the stereotypical grandma cars. And let's be honest, you'll be going to your control scheme a lot because you'll have to find out how to play this game. And I mentioned there's only autosaves. Just like the Grand Theft Auto series, especially Grand Theft Auto 5, there are missions you can do in the game. For example, one thing you can do is it lets you notice when a crime's about to start, or it can let you go and do stuff such as break up a crime in process. However, let's be honest here, this feature is not original, first of all. I mean, Grand Theft Auto did it first, but maybe I wouldn't be complaining so much had this game actually pulled it off well, because that's what this game cannot do. This game cannot pull it off well, and this game does a pretty poor job of it, especially when you're playing the game. And one of the main reasons why, the game was not only poorly designed when it comes to usability, for example, not coloring button icons on screen, but for example, it also has a feature where the controls are mapped weirdly. So not only do you have controls that are barely usable, but you've got stuff such as the fire button being mapped to the same button as the run button. I mean, keep in mind when you have games where press the stick down to run is basically the control scheme, you've got this happening where, for example, like I said, you'll have stuff where you have the run button as the fire button. So if you hit the other button thinking, oh, that's the run button, that's not the fire button, you'll get busted by the police. And let me get into that right now because this is going to remind you of a certain old video game. Here's a good example of how amazing the cops are in this game. So let's just say you're trying to chase somebody down, and then you accidentally hit the aim button, because you think the fire button is the other button, because the run button, somehow they were intelligent and they mapped it to the same button. The next thing you know, they'll call the cops on you, and next thing you know, you'll be running. And here's the thing, the cops, here's what game they're like. They're like the cops from Grand Theft Auto 3. Remember where they have overpowered aimbot weapons where if they see you, you're dead pretty much? Well, that's just what this game is like. Except instead of having health, you have about as much regenerating health as you have in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Like, I'm not even making this up. Even if you steal a car, even if you try to chase them, you'll be struggling with the driving controls, because the cars in this game control about as well as a boat. And that's what, just like Grand Theft Auto 4, this game has the worst driving controls on the face of the earth. I mean, I've played many video games, and this game blew me away on just how bad the controls were. I mean, I saw people on Steam community forums posting about how, it's just you're using keyboard mouse. Look how amazing these cops are. Look at this. Grand Theft Auto 3 right here, people. I'm just trying to run, and look what they do. They have aimbots. You just got owned. I mean, look at this. Amazing game right here. And especially in an era of Grand Theft Auto 5, you've got bad controls, a brutal AI, and of course, when you die, there's a long loading time just to add salt to the wound. I mean, just when you think this game can't get any worse, it takes a while to load. And it can be like 20 to 30 seconds just to load your game up. I really wish I was kidding about this, but no. This is next gen. This is supposedly next gen. And look, these load times are longer than a PS2 game. Good lord, this is bad. The game features a system where you can unlock skill points for your character which came straight out of Saints Row. Of course, it lets you do more stuff in the game because, after all, especially in a game where you're supposed to be an open world, do whatever you want with your own playground, you've got to have skills to make you play more of the game just so you can do more stuff. Of course, while Saints Row was fun, this game isn't. It's a total bore. I mean, it's like all the parts of the old Grand Theft Auto games, but just without this humor and stuff. Seriously. And now let me talk about the graphics. Wow. They look like Saints Row 3. I mean, this is an Xbox One game. This isn't the 360 version. This isn't the PS3 version. This is the Xbox One version. And they look like crap. Now, keep in mind, even the PC version on Ultra kind of looks bleh. And in fact, I've heard the PC version has severe optimization issues. Like, seriously. This has bad optimization issues. I mean, for starters, it was mostly supposed to be optimized for NVIDIA GPUs, so if you paid less for an AMD GPU, then too bad, you have to play it with an NVIDIA one, and I've heard of it getting terrible frame rates all while looking like this, and not only that, but the game has worse visual effects and stuff than even Grand Theft Auto 4, and there's a video I'm going to link comparing it. Because this game is just pathetic when it comes to graphics, especially when you have the E3 2012 demo. You take a look at that, and then you take a look at this, and this looks terrible. I mean, look, there aren't even reflections real time. I mean, even Unreal on the old PC had those. Pathetic. Just pathetic. Especially considering this game came out today, and I was able to rent it. I'm glad I only rented this for $7 because I feel bad for those who bought this game full price. The music is also a throwback to the older GTAs. Remember how most of the GTAs since 3 have had licensed soundtracks? Keep in mind, this game came out in the year 2014, and not only does this game have a soundtrack that's pretty much licensed from a bunch of nobodies like Grand Theft Auto 3 was, it's also generic music that's boring to listen to. And the radio has no humor whatsoever. Because like I said, unlike Grand Theft Auto, which could be considered a social commentary, this game is mostly a dream for a 12-year-old who went on Xbox Live and says he can hack you on Call of Duty. And I've also heard reports that this game is incredibly buggy. Now, well, I didn't encounter too many glitches due to the fact that the game was, well, too boring for me to continue. Considering how broken this game is when it comes to everything else, such as the controls, graphics, and Uplay, I can pretty much guarantee that they're right. But, you know, my final thoughts on this game? Oh, look, he flings like a ragdoll and he recovers that fast. But yet getting shot by the cops is insta-death. All in all, my thoughts on this game? Please, save your money. Don't buy this game whatsoever. It's straight up garbage. And look, this game was like overly hyped up. It's not that great. Don't buy this game. Because honestly, this game is just a ripoff. All in all, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. And please don't buy this game, because especially when there are games like Saints Row, there's games like Grand Theft Auto 5, there's games like Just Cause 2. Don't buy this game. Just don't buy. Oh, look, even if you holster your weapon, I didn't even try that because the second they see you, you're fucked. And I can't even see the colors because, like I said, the developers on the game, they did not design this game very well. And so there are no item colors. So basically, there's no button colors. So when you push like a button, they don't even tell you what color the B button is like every other Xbox One game does. All in all, skip this game. It's pure garbage. Unless you find getting shot in the face by police is an entertaining game. Don't buy this game. And especially not when the developer lies about the graphics. But possibly the worst part about this game, besides the fact that people were deceived, is that this game doesn't do anything new. Actually, there's one more thing I have to note before I end this review. The game actually does have some humor. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. However, it only has humor if your definition of humor is 2001 internet memes, along with other old internet memes that nobody will find funny anymore, such as You Mad, Doji, Forever Alone, All Your Base, You Mad, Arrow to the Knee. It has all those memes in it, though, in case you consider that humor. And the last thing I thought I'd mention, the game does have new game only DLC on the PS3 and PS4 versions for a single player game too, that you can't get if you buy a used copy. And that is all. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.